If you feel like you are being held back by your past or any struggles that you went through, then this video is for you, and it's really going to help you create a massive shift around how you view those struggles. So I know we all go through hard times. Some things are worse than others, and we all have these struggles that build up and create tension in the body, in our energetic field, and in our mind. So whatever you have gone through is something you're probably still carrying, even if you feel like you've released it or even if you feel like you've moved on. And I'm going to talk about this, and I might use the word trauma, but I don't want you to associate that as like a hugely traumatic thing, because trauma, in my sense of the word, what I'm using it here, is going to encompass a lot of different things and a struggle in general. So in order to explain that, I want to first just share that, like, as a child, when you experience pain or heartache, that is traumatic. So it might not be massive childhood trauma, like it might not be something serious, but as a kid, if we idolize our parents and our parents really get upset with us one time, that can be very traumatic for us, to our child body and our child mind. So we really carry this major pain point, you could say, this major struggle from that event, and it's something that then we carry with us for the rest of our lives. So it doesn't have to, some people are gonna hear this, and some of the people I've worked with, they don't necessarily have a horrible childhood, or they didn't have a ton of struggles growing up, but there still are some points in your childhood that create this struggle and create this impact that is affecting you right now. So if you're watching this, you'll probably fit into one or two of the categories of either, like, you know, pretty good childhood, but there still is something that's holding you back right now and you're not sure what it is. Or you might fit into the category of, you know, like, there was a struggle, there was a lot growing up, and in your teenage years that created this struggle and impact for you. So either or, this will be helpful for you. And the biggest shift that has helped me in my own life is how I view those struggles. And I want to make a quick disclaimer that this isn't me trying to lessen the struggle, like diminish it or make it seem like it's not a big deal. It's just the perspective you choose to take. So I had a very good childhood growing up, and I don't recall many traumatic things, as I would say, but when I was 18, my brother passed away from an allergic reaction, so that to a prescription drug. So that was the first really big struggle and like impacting moment in my life. And then it was a few years after that I was sexually assaulted, and then a couple years after that I was driving across Canada in the winter and I hit black ice and I flipped and rolled 4 times. So I actually did have some PTSD from that and a lot of anxiety around driving. And so you can imagine, from those 3 big situations, each one brought about a different kind of trauma and a different kind of pain, whether it was like heartache and grief, or whether it was like shame and guilt and trust issues, or whether it was anxiety, PTSD, that kind of thing. So all of those were things that I had to work through. And I'm not saying that it was an immediate fix and that I just magically overcame those struggles, because it did take time, and that's what sent me searching and studying and training around the world and doing all the things I did to get to where I am right now. But the biggest perspective shift that I want you to start implementing in your life, that I think will really help you change your life, and that you can start right after this video, is to ask yourself how you are viewing your struggles. So one of my favorite things to say is that you can either view your struggles as hurdles and limitations, or you can view them as lessons. So I could view my experiences as limitations, I could view them as hurdles, and I could just be like really stuck in the grief, in the negativity, in the pain. I could be living a totally different life right now, being all consumed by that struggle. Or I can choose to view it as a lesson and choose to try and empower myself to make the most out of that situation. So reflect on some of your biggest struggles right now and your biggest moments that you've had to work through in your life, and what is the underlying emotion or feeling that you have for it. So what kind of charge comes up for you when you think about it? Do you immediately get pulled back into that moment, into that like chest tightening, stomach drops, heartache, you know, really painful, emotional, it's so bad you don't even want to think about it, you'd rather just kind of push it and bottle it up right now? Or are you able to look at it with a little bit more neutrality? Or are you able to look at it with a little bit more positivity even? And what's so important to realize is you don't need to be grateful for it. You don't need to be grateful and appreciative for the struggle, because obviously you most likely won't be, but you need to be able to find something from that situation. It's finding that silver lining so that you can look at it in a more positive way, so that you can not stay so that you won't stay stuck, so that you can rise above the situation. So whatever the past struggle is that you've gone through, really start practicing asking yourself that question. Like, am I viewing this as a lesson, or am I viewing it as a hurdle and a limitation? What kind of perspective am I choosing to take? And even though it hurts, even though it created some damage and some wounds, and it might be something I'm still working on, was there a silver lining? Was there something positive I can take away? And usually that positive, for most situations, is that it's made you stronger and it's brought you to where you are right now. And one of the biggest things is that if you can get to a point in your life where you are happy where you are right now, then in a weird, twisted way, you're kind of happy for the negative experiences, because those are parts of your path and parts of your story that got you to where you are today. So I can look back at those situations that I mentioned before, and I can actually see some of the positives and the silver lining, because I'm really happy with who I am today, and I'm really grateful that I'm in the position I'm in, and I'm grateful that I can share my story and my own experiences and struggles and help other people. And, you know, it brought me so many lessons. Obviously it was a challenge. Obviously in the moment I wasn't like, yes, this is awesome, I want to struggle, let's do this, you know. There was a lot of pain, and it takes time to work through that. But when you can learn to shift your perspective around it, that will really change the whole trajectory of your life, because there's always going to be some kind of struggle, there's always going to be some kind of hurdle, and it's just up to you whether you let it totally limit you and keep you stuck and keep you depressed and anxious and insecure and feeling doubtful or, you know, not good enough, or if you choose to view it as a lesson and just try to take that one tiny little piece that's a positive, a silver lining, and focus on that so that you can move forward with it and use it to your advantage. Turn it into a strength. So I really hope that helps you.